Hello and welcome to Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. I'm Sean Burke. Joining me is Andy Taylor, Jack Townsend and Nick Elliott. Coming home on this week's show. Wait a minute.
I mean, you definitely could write it.
Yeah. But Andy would read it and say that's unrealistic.
Lads, I've got an idea for a story. It involves England playing most of their games at home.
I'm just taking a lot of confidence from the fact that we're just doing a job in every game. Even the Scotland game, if you actually look back on it, we did a job.
I'm happy for England to be the bad guys and knock them out in the semi.
Yeah.
Usually we're sitting here going, why are we not seeing the player that we see for the club side? And actually it's probably the exact opposite with Pickford. Jose he'll be cheering us on.
Everyone but Luke Shaw. When he gets on a boo. England played Germany earlier this week, and that statement normally precedes some terrible news for English people. But not this time. England won 2-0 with goals from Kane and Sterling, securing a deserved win over the Germans. Ed Sheeran was in attendance too, appropriate, as the Germans' legs don't work like they used to before. You lads must be buzzing. Andy, you in particular were very pessimistic the last time we spoke about England. How are you feeling now?
Well, I think probably a lot of the victories owed to me, really, because they were trying to they were trying to prove me wrong. I know that Harry Kane did a 30-second team talk before they went out, and I imagine I was 20 seconds of that, probably. Just going, honestly, one of the best feelings ever to see us win. I still don't think it was an amazing performance, by the way, so I think I'm slightly justified in that. It's not like we've gone out there and immediately, we're going to win it, we're definitely going to beat the Italians or the Belgians.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like, I think a lot of people are going to get carried away with that because ultimately we've beaten the Germans. But look, it's an amazing result. Not the best German side we've ever seen, but it's the Germans nonetheless. I mean, the fact that Muller missed that chance at the end, I mean, that just, something's going your way, because that goes in every day of the week in any other tournament that I've ever seen.
That was so in. I've watched the highlights twice again this morning. Because you've got to watch it with BBC commentary and ITV commentary thing. But in both occasions, when I was watching that Muller chance, there's something in you that just goes, that's in. That's a goal. Yeah. Even though you know it's not. Yeah. But just when it goes past Pickford, you're like, oh yeah, that's nestling in the bottom corner.
The performance overall, it wasn't like the most exciting game. I guess anything following that day we had with the two ridiculous results is going to be a step down. But if that Muller goal had gone in, do you think we'd be having a very different chat?
I think it just shows what a knife-edge football is, right? Because actually we could have put in that exact performance, right? And let's say Werner puts his chance away and we lose it 1-0. The exact carbon copy of that performance, we'd be all slating him going, why is Grealish not starting? So it's like fair play to Southgate. It's almost like you're never going to be able to do right unless you get the result. I think Grealish was the difference as well, if I'm honest. I know that Maguire picked up man of the match. I know, Shaw did well, Rice did well, but Grealish is influential in both goals. And I still think he should start. I know that Saka's done really well. I just still think Grealish is a starter for me. I just think he's not going to start, obviously, and Southgate's not going to listen to me. I know he probably shouldn't listen to me anyway. The main thing I wanted before the tournament was just for us to look exciting. And when Grealish gets on it, I'm just excited. And that's why I want to see more of him. But again, I can't argue with him being on the bench because he came on and made the impact. And that's probably what Southgate was justified in leaving him on the bench. So, but it will all mean nothing if Zinchenko notches a 1-0 against us on Saturday.
You still can't get excited, can you, Andy? You still being the pessimist.
Well, we're only in the quarterfinals, and the problem is now is that we should now get to the final. That's like, it's almost hard to believe that.
This Euros has been outstanding entertainment, and not just because of the quality of the football. Ally McCoist's commentary has been a lovely added bonus, with the Scotsman dishing out some cracking lines. So this week's challenge, I'm calling Would Ali to You? And what the panel needs to do is spot the real McCoist quotes from the fake ones.
You're buzzing me now, aren't you?
Oh yeah, that little hat on the A.
2 shifts well spent.
Photo number 1. I was just about ready to invade Berwick upon Tweed. I was just about ready to invade Carlisle.
Bit of elements of Jim White in there, wasn't there?
Breaking news. I was ready to invade Carlisle.
I feel like I know which one.
Yeah, so the correct answer is number 2. I was just about ready to invade Carlisle. But Berwick-upon-Tweed is a town on the Scottish border that has been fought over the centuries between England and Scotland. So look it up. It's quite an interesting history. Photo number 2. Mbappe's made him look like a darts player running for the bus. Hummels looks like he's just turned up for the dad's race on sports day.
I feel like, has he said both of these?
No,
is there any red herrings?
Right answers.
Yeah, maybe you should start doing the accent because it makes me think, yeah, they're both right.
The quotes are just going to get longer as well, by the way. The last one is just 2 paragraphs. You've all got this one right. It was number 2. Hummels looks like he's just turned up for the dad's race on sports day. Live on Sky Sports News. When Kylian Mbappe ran past him, which is probably the highlight of his tournament. It's fairly even so far, points-wise. But we move on to the next set of quotes. Photo 3, coming your way. I'll play for Rangers as long as I can, then spend the rest of my life being depressed. Football's a game of skill. We kicked them a bit, they kicked us a bit.
I know which one I want it to be, but...
And congratulations, you're all correct again. It was number 1, because, yeah, he played quite a bit for Rangers. And that second quote was actually a quote from Graham Roberts, I think, who I think is a former Spurs player. Braz, is that correct? I don't know. But it's a quote from someone else on a perfectly reliable website called footballquotes.com or something. At the moment, it is Nick on 3 and Andy on 3, and Jack has 2. So stick with us as we finish the quiz later on the show. But right now, it's back to a bit of football chat. One thing I'll say about this tournament is every time I've thought, oh, this result should happen, it has not happened, basically. So I'd say there are absolutely no safe bets in this.
I'm just taking a lot of confidence from the fact that we're just doing a job in every game. Even the Scotland game, if you actually look back on it, we did a job. We probably should have won it. Stone should have scored that header. Like, we're just doing a job. Whereas the Dutch, I was praising them for their fast, free-flowing football, like wing-backs getting forward. Well, they're out.
Pickford's having a very good tournament currently. I think he's not getting enough praise. I know you said that Werner shot, but it was still a very good save. He also had that volley pushed over the bar, very strong hand. Like, he did the Müller miss. I mean, it was Müller's to miss, but he did close down the angle. I thought he was great with ball at feet as well, like playing out from the back, which, you see some teams in the Premier League do it just because it seems like everyone's trying to do it. Usually
we're sitting here going, why are we not seeing the player that we see for the club side? And actually, it's probably the exact opposite with Pickford.
Pickford's one of those players, isn't it? Like Miroslav Klose or Granit Xhaka, I suppose, as well. Just seems to play better in international football. Pogba,
yeah.
It's just, there's certain players that do it, and you don't usually associate with goalkeepers because usually keeping, you just think sort of fairly consistent. But yeah, Pickford's never let England down. In fact, more than that, he's, like Jack says, he's in the last 2 tournaments probably been in our top 3 players. And in between that, he's throwing the ball into his own net for Everton every other week. So,
What is the potential route to the final then? So it's Ukraine next round?
Potentially Denmark after that. Could be Czech Republic because we've already beaten. And that's the other thing, isn't it? Like you say, Andy, retrospectively looking back, that 1-0 boring 1-0 win over Czech Republic looks pretty decent now that they've knocked out Netherlands. And Croatia, obviously, I know they got knocked out, but it gave Spain a bit of a scare. We had a boring 1-0 win against them that we got in the groups. You've beaten two sides there that were clearly a bit better than most gave credit for. Well, especially Czech Republic. I mean, they're 1 game away from getting to the semi-finals. So I don't know. The thing about yesterday was that England played like old Germany, and Germany played like old England. Like that Müller miss. I feel like that's the kind of thing that happened to Rooney in like 2010 or something like that. Boring kind of control that we had is the kind of thing that happened against us, where you think, oh look, they've named 7 defenders essentially. Oh, but they've won. It's worked. Do you know what I mean? I think we are kind of doing to them what has happened to us loads of times. And Southgate's resisted this call from certain fans. And I think Andy might be one. It's like, let's get Sancho in, let's get Grealish, Foden, Mount, let's get them all in. And that's kind of like what went wrong famously for the golden generation, right? We've got to get Scholes in somehow. Let's stick him out on the left. We've got to get Gerrard and Lampard in, even though they're playing they're occupying the same space, and everyone was like, yeah, fine, we'll name the best 11 players. Southgate's actually resisted that. He's actually said, look, that's not going to work. It hasn't worked before. The system comes first, and if that means picking, Phillips and Rice as the first 2 names on the team sheet, then so be it. And if it means Mount, Foden and Grealish and Sancho all starting on the bench on Tuesday, then yeah, so be it. But when I saw that announcement, I thought, I didn't complain about it, but I thought, wow, he's going to get crucified if this doesn't work. The Germans can't believe that Sancho isn't starting every game. I've had another thing, apparently in Spain, they can't believe that, they think Foden and Mount are absolutely unbelievable and the team should both be built around them. But it's not. The team is built around Rice and Phillips, and it's working.
I thought Phillips was one of the best players yesterday as well. He's really been a standout since the start of the tournament, I thought, for you.
He plays some unreal balls through.
Yeah.
I knew that because Nick, every time the ball got played through by Phillips, was almost like cheering like a goal went in.
You got to let people know. You got to remind them just in case. By the way, that was Phillips who passed that.
Someone like Phillips, I think, sums up why this team's doing so well. There aren't as many big time egos. There aren't as many people that have probably feel like they've, done all they can in the game. Like Phillips is just proper homegrown. Wears his heart on his sleeve. He's not on the big money at Man City. He just wants to do the dirty things. He's happy to do stuff that perhaps goes unnoticed. Southgate just wants, workers for him, like, unassuming. Even Rice, at the end of the day, just does a lot of work that we probably don't even notice half the time.
With that in mind, this is very pure speculation. Say for some miracle we manage to actually bring it home and win this. But playing as we are, do you feel like countries, like nations like Spain or Italy, Portugal, France will ridicule us for winning it in such a manner? Like, because when Greece won it, everyone was saying, like, hated them because they were playing such anti-football. Do you think that will be kind of their way of, you've won it, but you've not won it like with flair?
Yeah, but Portugal and France haven't got a leg to stand on. Portugal did that in 2016. France kind of did it in 2018. I mean, they had that crazy game against Argentina, which kind of went against the thing. But that France-Switzerland game, and Croatia-Spain, amazing entertainment. One of the best days of tournament football ever. That is the exact thing that Southgate is trying to avoid. He doesn't want an end-to-end shootout that ends with you getting dumped out by Switzerland in the most entertaining game for 20 years. He doesn't want that. He wants an instantly forgettable game that is a win and you just move on. Mm-hmm. And you can see why. Like that day was a perfect justification for the way Southgate's going about it. Because it's like, yeah, sure, you can, like Andy was saying, you want entertainment. Of course you do, but
not when it's your own team.
Yeah, exactly. He'd get absolutely crucified if that Switzerland game had happened to us and we'd end up going out like that, which did feel like a very kind of English performance from the friend. Everyone would be criticising way more than they are now for essentially a boring approach. So yeah, I think he's already been justified. I mean, yeah, obviously if we go out now to Ukraine or Denmark, that's going to be disappointing. And if we do it by not attacking enough, he will get a lot of criticism. But I think he's already been justified. I think the approach he's already showed. Yeah, there's clearly some logic behind it. So yeah, hopefully that'll be the end of it won't be the end of it though, will it? Because the next team, when it gets announced, exact same reaction. Oh, so negative. Can't believe he's not playing. He's not playing. Like, it won't change.
The one thing I would say about our next fixture is that we're playing in Rome, and it'll be our first away fixture. Probably not with the same crowd that we've been kind of lucky to have in behind us. That will be a bit different.
Yeah,
Jose will be there, won't he? He'll be cheering us on.
Everyone but Luke Shaw. When he gets on a boo.
Again, I don't want to count my chickens, but if we do get through that, then there's 2 games at Wembley to finish. I mean, you couldn't write it. Couldn't write it. We technically aren't at home for these Euros, but we would have played 1 game away from Wembley to get to win the trophy.
I mean, you definitely could write it.
Yeah. But Andy would read it and say that's unrealistic.
Lads, I've got an idea for a story. It involves England playing most of their games at home.
It'd be a really...
Whoa. Back up a second.
It'd be a really dull children's book.
My literary talents are not as...
You wrote this.
Crazy. England at Wembley?
Have you read this?
Via Rome, though.
We get this for one of the matches. They're in Italy. Next on the Euros horizon are the quarterfinals, and we have a tasty set of fixtures ahead of us. Belgium v Italy, Switzerland v Spain, Czech Republic v Denmark, and England v Ukraine. The neutrals will get a semi, but which countries will too? Belgium, Italy is probably the most interesting out of those.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I don't know if there's been any more updates since we recorded this, but De Bruyne and Eden Hazard are not expected to play, so it's a huge blow. I mean, especially De Bruyne, obviously. So yeah, I think it would have been really tight.
Yeah.
I mean, even that's just gone our way, hasn't it? Because I would be scared against a flying Belgian side, whereas Italy, assuming we get into the final here, which is the worst thing to do, but if we did get Italy in the final, it's going to be tough, but it's not like they're going to come out and try and batter us 5-0. It's just going to be a really tight game, which we could win. There's nothing else that really scares me too much. I mean, the Spanish, you look at the flag and you're like, oh, it's the Spanish, but actually nothing special about that. I mean, Ferran Torres barely gets a game for City and he's one of their best players. I mean, he plays all right for them.
They were struggling terribly in the air as well. So you would have to target that if you're playing them.
I think Spain are quite good. They've scored 10 goals in two games. Before that, they had problems with their finishing, but it kind of all evens out. They should have scored 6 in their first 2, and then he scored 1, and then they ended up scoring 10 in the last 2. I'm not scared of them because they are the kind of team. They are vulnerable, like Jack said. They're a bit naive. They can definitely be got at, but I mean they've got some class players. I mean Pedri, I watched him a bit for Barcelona, but this tournament, I have a proper look at him. 18 years old. It's like a little Iniesta clone. I think Barcelona have kind of, they must have scraped some Iniesta DNA before he left and grown a little test tube baby because he plays exactly the same way. He's absolutely class.
I'm surprised to see, well, I guess the two biggest surprises are probably Czech Republic and Denmark. Surprised to see Denmark win their last game so resoundingly, to see them in the quarterfinals, but one of those two teams is going to the semis. Which one do you think? I mean, it'd be good to see Denmark considering the way they started.
Yeah, well, it's actually incredible they're doing it without Eriksen because basically their whole thing was like, okay, they're really solid, right? They've got Højbjerg and Delaney, Christensen and Vestergaard and like Schmeichel. They've got a really solid spine, so they're not going to concede many. But going forward, it basically was give it to Eriksen, let's see what he can do because their 3 forwards have, their goal record at international levels like 1 in 5 for all of them, like Poulsen, Dolberg, all of that. So it was basically Eriksen, main playmaker, and score all the goals. So the fact that they're doing it without him is actually really impressive because they were probably the team that were most reliant on one player. Everyone kind of wants to see them do well. I'm happy for England to be the bad guys and knock them out in the semi there.
Yeah. Ahead of this next round then, I want to know, Nick, what players are you putting in your dream team? What changes are you making? Who do you think might grab some points?
Well, I mean, yeah, logic would say pile in on England. I mean, people would be reluctant to do that. But, if you took all emotion out of it, if that was any other team that were on that side of the draw that hadn't conceded a goal, you'd be going, right, I'm going to get Pickford in. I'm going to get Stones, Shaw, Sterling. You'd be thinking, I'm going to have at least 4 England players probably. Yeah, but I mean, apart from that, as I say, Spain obviously have scored 10 goals in 2 games. Ferran Torres and Pablo Sarabia, they're both way up there now for midfielders. And if De Bruyne isn't going to play, then, people will be needing to find a midfielder. And obviously, the likes of Havertz, Pogba, who are doing really well. We've got to find replacements for them. So, yeah, I think the Spanish midfielders definitely could be a way to go. But then equally, I mean, people are going to stick by Italy, aren't they? I think, even though they're playing against Belgium. So yeah, Immobile, Insigne. I think maybe Chiesa might start the next one because that Berardi had a bad game and Chiesa came off the bench, scored that really classy goal. So, but that's a bit of a gamble because you're not quite sure. But you could wait to see for the team and then make a last minute decision.
And we want to know how your dream teams are getting along too. Who's been your best player? Who has surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments below. Okay, when we left you, it was Andy on 3, Nick on 3, and Jack on 2. There's one question left. Jack could potentially equalise it. The other two could get it wrong. What's going to happen? Let's find out with our final photo. We don't have a scouting system, but we still watch players and look at those who are out of contract. Our IT guy, wee Stevie, keeps us up to date with that. Quote 2. There was no contact. He's let himself down there and he's apologised for it. I've seen worse headbutts in a queue for a pizza crunch on a Friday night in Glasgow.
I just don't. Would you say you wouldn't make up pizza crunch, but you've been known to throw in a little?
It could be someone else's quote though. That's the...
Oh, no, yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true.
We know he's been on footballquotes.com.
Yeah.
Well, the answers are in. And would you believe it? Jack is right and Andy and Nick are wrong.
No.
I made it up.
Yes.
I did it again. Nobody said that. Ever.
You made up pizza crunch?
I did. I did a deep dive, some proper research. But yeah, congratulations, Jack. So it is 3-3 at the moment, but I have prepared a tiebreaker to bring this to an end. So whoever has the closest answer to this is going to be the winner. So it's another one relevant to his time at Rangers. So I want you guys to guess, how many appearances did Ally McCoist make for Rangers in total?
Oh, that's awful. How am I getting that?
Has he made more appearances for Rangers or question of sport?
The answers are in. So first of all, Andy said 535 appearances. Nick said 565 appearances.
Oh no, I've been sandwiched.
Jack said 568 appearances.
Oh no, I've not.
How have you both gone that close? That's outrageous.
The correct answer, is 581 appearances. So Jack, he's done it. He's pulled it back.
He's come back.
Congratulations, Nick. What we all love to see that. What a comeback. At the cliffhanger, Jack was lagging behind, and now look at this. Champion.
It's like that the Monday set of fixtures with all those comebacks.
I'm Presnell Kimpembe. I got complacent and it cost me.
It's incredible guesses across the board, though. Nick sent his through, first of all, and I was like, that's the winner straight away. When he said 565, I was like, there's no way anyone's getting closer. What do you know?
Oh, well done, Jack. Well done.
Well done, Jack. I hope you're happy. You can hear the cynicism.
I'm so happy. So happy.
Well, that's all from us, folks. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Dream Team Coach TV, brought to you by Betway. We'll be back again next week to look ahead at the Euros final. Will we be analysing England's chances? We will soon find out. Until then, take care, and we will see you again next week.